thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, after the Ryan fight, I was fucked up. I was hurt.
Mentally.
I was hurt. I couldn't believe that a guy like, no disrespect to Ryan, but I felt like I was levels above him. I couldn't believe that a guy like Ryan could beat me. I was like, I trained super hard. I was super disciplined. He did everything wrong. I did everything right. So I was just like, I was fucked up. It was just my mind was all over the place.
This is before you found out about the
yeah, this is before.
test.
This is before. But even after, I was still fucked up because, even after he tested positive, they were still making excuses. It was still like, it was like I was getting bad flack for it for something that he did.
Right there, that is Devin Haney, one of the most technically accomplished boxers of his generation, sitting in an interview and telling you that a man who he believed was levels below him beat him, humiliated him, knocked him down 3 times in front of the world, and then that same man tested positive for a banned performance-enhancing drug. And still, Haney was the one taking the bad press. Still, Haney was the one defending himself online. Still, Haney was the one answering questions about why he looked the way he did that night, while the man who cheated was already onto his next chapter. That is the story of the Garcia-Haney rivalry in one answer. And if you thought it ended there, you are about to find out how deep this rabbit hole actually goes. Because what has unfolded in the months since that April 2024 night in Brooklyn has escalated into one of the most extraordinary off-canvas wars between 2 fighters in recent boxing memory. Lawsuits, purse forfeitures, money vanishing, financial penalties that would make most people's heads spin. And through it all, Ryan Garcia, the man who won the belt, lost the result, lost the suspension appeal, and then had his $1.2 million fine hit his account, somehow still ended up becoming WBC welterweight champion in February 2026. But here is the part the boxing world is not talking about clearly enough: the financial carnage underneath that comeback. Because while Garcia was posting videos on Kick and doing live stream challenges and tweeting about how he was going to build an empire, the numbers underneath the surface told a very different story. The fines, the lost purse money, the legal fees, the penalties, the no-contest ruling that wiped out what should have been his biggest career payday, all of it adding up to a financial reality that stands in stark contrast to the King Rai persona the world sees on social media. He did everything wrong. I did everything right. That line. That is the entire emotional foundation of this rivalry from Haney's perspective. A fighter who prepared correctly, competed cleanly, and got destroyed by a man who was chemically enhanced, and then had to watch as the narrative on social media somehow still turned against the clean fighter. The absurdity of that situation is what drove the lawsuit, what drove the financial claims, what drove months of legal proceedings that ultimately culminated in both sides agreeing to drop the case and settle it in the ring instead. But settling it in the ring required both men to be available and willing at the same time. And that has proven to be one of the more elusive things in the recent history of boxing. Let's talk about the money, because the financial picture of Ryan Garcia's career between April 2024 and February 2026 is the part of this story that deserves a dedicated breakdown, and the part that makes the title of this video land with real weight. The purse from the Haney fight should have been Garcia's single biggest career payday to that point. A DAZN pay-per-view event, a world title fight against a unified champion, a massive audience. Under the consent order, Garcia was required to return his base purse to Golden Boy Promotions. The fine added another $1.2 million on top of that. And Haney's lawsuit, which sought 47% of all fight profits, the cost of the $300,000 step-aside fee Haney had paid Sandor Martin to get the title shot, and damages for physical injury, reputational damage, and emotional distress, added an additional layer of financial exposure that Garcia's legal team spent months navigating. Then, in May 2025, came the Rolly Romero fight, another loss, more money paid out in training, promotion, and preparation. More opportunities at the championship level pushed back. The rematch with Haney, which had already been signed and money agreed according to Haney in the interview, suddenly evaporated, and the reset began.
I was super high, everything was going good, and then one fight changed everything.
Yeah.
So it's just part of it. It's in every sport, in everything you do. You know, you be super high at one point, you get back low, and you go back high. It's just part of it. One moment they love you, one moment they hate you.
But some guys say that when they experience that, especially for the first time, like Anthony Joshua and guys like that, they start to rebel. They start to hate the sport and like want to quit.
Yeah.
You ever have those thoughts? I know you might not really want, but just the thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, after the Ryan fight, I was fucked up. I was hurt.
Mentally.
I was hurt. I couldn't believe that a guy like, you know, no disrespect to Ryan, but I felt like I was levels above him. I couldn't believe that a guy like Ryan could beat me. I was like, you know, I trained super hard. I was super disciplined. He did everything wrong. I did everything right. So I was just like, I was fucked up. It was just my mind was all over the place.
And Devin Haney, the man who sat in that interview chair, looking shaken, looking hurt, telling you he could not believe this happened, has been watching every single development with the kind of quiet attention that only a man who was genuinely wronged and still waiting for justice can maintain. This is the full story, every layer, every financial detail, every twist in a rivalry that has never actually been settled, in the ring or anywhere else. To understand where we are now, you have to go back to the moment everything changed. April 20th, 2024, Barclays Center, Brooklyn. Ryan Garcia made weight, barely, then barely again, then not at all. He came in 3.5 pounds over the contractual limit of 140 pounds. Haney accepted financial compensation to proceed with the fight. Garcia knocked Haney down 3 times with left hooks in rounds 7, 10, and 11, won by majority decision. And then the drug tests came back. Ostarin, a performance-enhancing drug on the WADA banned list since 2008, classified as an anabolic agent since 2022. Both of Garcia's samples from April 19th and April 20th came back positive. The win was overturned to a no contest. Garcia received a 1-year suspension, and the financial penalties began. The New York State Athletic Commission issued a consent order requiring Garcia to return his purse to Golden Boy Promotions. Then came the fine, $1.2 million, one of the largest in boxing history. And Haney's team filed the lawsuit that same month, battery, fraud, and unjust enrichment, seeking millions in unspecified damages and demanding 47% of all profits from the bout that Garcia was found to have cheated in. Haney explained the emotional toll of all of this with a clarity that no amount of press release language could match.
Narrative on the
Yeah,
internet.
no. I mean, when I was like laughing at it because it was just like, damn, like fuck, Ryan, you fucking up. Yeah, you fucking up. Like our fight was already signed for it. We was getting crazy money for it, so it was like fuck. Like it was more like
that's what you was thinking
embarrassing.
about
Like
the money.
man, oh my god.
So what
Ryan.
about watching the fight? Like, at what point did you start to get nervous? Like, man, the bag is slipping away.
Well, I don't know what round I came in, but I want to say like I came like maybe halfway through the fight, so I didn't really know
you didn't catch
exactly.
the
Yeah,
first
I was in the dressing room getting dressed, changing clothes and stuff like that. So I didn't get a chance to see like the beginning part of the fight, but I knew that he got dropped, so I wasn't really keeping up with the rounds like that.
Okay.
But everybody was telling me that he was
down.
But I was hoping for something big. I was hoping for him.
Knock out or something,
I was hoping for him to
To
just.
sell the fight.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously.
not only to sell the fight, but just for us to fight.
Right, but I'm just saying that makes it for a better fight for you and him.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, our fight was already signed and money was already signed for it.
just
So
had
it was
to
like,
win. Didn't matter.
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
had to win.
Did they ever present the Ryan fight like it's still being a possibility?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like how? What does that look like? Like what does he have to go out and beat somebody else
Yeah,
to try to rebuild
he
the
wants
fight?
to get like tune-up fights.
Our fight was already signed. We were getting crazy money for it. That is Haney confirming that the rematch deal was real, was structured, was financially agreed upon, and then Garcia lost to Rolly Romero and the whole arrangement collapsed. Haney watched that fight from the dressing room. He came in halfway through. He was hoping for a Garcia knockout, not because he wanted Garcia to look good, but because a dramatic Garcia win sold the rematch. Instead, Garcia was dropped in the second round and lost on the scorecards. And the money that was supposed to come from their second fight, money that Haney had already mentally allocated, already emotionally invested in, disappeared with the result. This is the financial chaos that surrounded Garcia during what the social media world was seeing as his rebuild. The outside world saw King Rai doing live streams and garage training videos. The inside of the story was significantly messier. Fines unpaid or in dispute, legal costs mounting, a rematch deal that collapsed, a suspension served, a career reset that was genuinely uncertain in its outcome. And this is where the gym acquisition angle lands with real meaning. Because what Haney did in the months following the Garcia rivalry implosion was not sit still and wait for a phone call. He fought. He beat Jose Ramirez at Times Square in May 2025. He honored his end of the Riyadh season arrangement even after Garcia could not. He kept his options open, kept his name current, and watched the financial and legal proceedings around Garcia from a position of relative stability.
Garcia, on the other hand, was navigating the single most complicated period of any active fighter's career. The fine, the legal exposure, the loss, the suspension, and the public perception battle that comes with all of it. When Garcia's training facility situation became part of the wider financial picture, the costs of maintaining a world-class training operation during a suspension, during legal proceedings, during a period of genuine career uncertainty, the symbolism of the situation was not lost on the people watching. Haney is financially intact. Garcia's finances were in documented turmoil during that period. And the power reversal that represented, from the night in Brooklyn where Garcia physically dominated Haney across 12 rounds, to the months afterward where Haney held the moral, legal, and financial high ground, is one of the more complete reversals in recent boxing history.
Wrong.
Yeah.
And you didn't really create excuses. I guess, you addressed what was in front of you, right, as far as the test.
And in the beginning, when it was fair and I thought everything was fair, I gave him his props. I told him he was a better man, and maybe we do it again one day. And I had to take it on the chin, and I did that. But I only had something to say when I found out that we wasn't on an even playing field.
Right.
So, but I got the bad rap for it, but it's part of it. What?
The only thing I had something to say was when I found out we weren't on an even playing field. That is a man with genuine grievance speaking with genuine precision. Haney did not attack Garcia immediately. He gave him his props when he thought it was fair. He took it on the chin. The lawsuit and the financial claims came after the positive test, after the cover-up claims, after the IV evidence, after the commission's own consent order confirmed what Haney had been saying all along, that the playing field was not level. And the financial reckoning that followed was, in Haney's framework, simply a matter of arithmetic. Garcia won money he was not entitled to. Haney lost money he was entitled to. The courts and the commission were the mechanism for correcting that imbalance. Now here is the part that makes Garcia's February 2026 title win so complicated to assess. Because on the surface it looked like a redemption arc. Garcia came back. Garcia won the belt. Garcia dropped Barrios in 30 seconds and dominated 12 rounds. And the narrative of King Rai's comeback became the dominant story in boxing for a month. But underneath it, the Haney situation was never resolved in the ring. The lawsuit was dropped, but only because both sides agreed to settle it in the ring through the rematch arrangement. The rematch arrangement that was originally signed fell apart when Garcia lost to Romero. A new version of it was being pieced back together even as Garcia won the Barrios belt. And Haney, watching Garcia become WBC welterweight champion in the same week that the financial fallout from their 2024 fight was still being worked through the legal system, had exactly one reaction. He wanted the rematch, now more than ever.
Yeah, to win.
Did they ever present the Ryan fight like it's still being a possibility?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like how? What does that look like? Like Does he have to go out and beat somebody else to try to rebuild
he
the
wants
fight?
to get like tune-up fights.
I don't understand how people talking about you when you've been since a teenager just wanting to fight the best. That observation from the interviewer and Haney's quiet agreement with it captures the specific absurdity of what Haney lived through. A man who has never run from a fight in his career, who called out undisputed champions as a teenager, who took every hard match available to him at lightweight and welterweight, who agreed to fight Garcia despite the weight miss, who took financial compensation and proceeded with the fight because he wanted to compete, and who still, somehow, took heat for the outcome of a fight that was later ruled a no contest because his opponent tested positive. That is the image that should define the Garcia-Haney rivalry, not the knockdowns, not the viral left hook moments, not the social media beef. The image of a clean fighter absorbing reputational damage for something a cheating opponent did and being forced to spend the next 2 years rebuilding a commercial position that should never have been damaged in the first place.
Yeah, that part I don't understand. I don't understand how people talking about you when you, since you was a teenager, wanted to fight the best, and that's all you ever did. That's crazy to me, man.
There was something going on the internet, like a narrative of that image, that video image of you and your pops sitting ringside kind of laughing at Ryan's decision. Now, we don't know when that clip was taken. We don't know if it was before or during the fight, but that's the way they painted it, like, oh, Dev is laughing at Ryan losing, but then people in the comments saying, well, why is he so happy? It's not like his performance was great. Like,
Did they ever present the Ryan fight as still being a possibility? For sure. Yeah. That confirmation, quiet, direct, without hyperbole, is the clearest signal you get about where this rivalry actually stands right now. It is not over. It was never over. The lawsuit is dropped, the suspension is served, the fines have been processed, and what is left is exactly what Haney said from the beginning he wanted: a rematch in the ring. No lawyers, no commissions, no paper trail. Just the two of them, with a world title on the line, and 2 years of accumulated grievance to settle. But the financial dimension of this story is not just historical context, it is active, because Garcia becoming WBC welterweight champion means he is now a title holder, which means he generates sanctioning fees, mandatory obligations, and promotional revenue that he controls in a way he has not controlled since before April 2024. He is, on paper, back to full financial functionality as a world champion. Haney, however, is still the man who was cheated, who missed millions, who had the rematch signed and then watched it evaporate, who had to go through an entire parallel rebuild, beating Ramirez, navigating the Teofimo Lopez negotiation collapse, watching Ennis move up in weight, all while waiting for the man who cheated him to get himself back to a position where a rematch made commercial sense. And that waiting, that enforced patience, is what gives Haney's position in this rivalry so much quiet menace. Garcia has been the louder story, the more dramatic character, the bigger social media presence. But Haney has been the man with the legitimate grievance, the clean record, and the contractual claim to the rematch that has been agreed, collapsed, and agreed again. Listen to how Haney frames the emotional core of all of it. The rematch, when it happens, carries all of this weight. Every dollar of the $1.2 million fine, every court document from the lawsuit, every month of the suspension, every fight that fell through. Every day Haney waited for the sport to correct what happened in Brooklyn. Garcia is the WBC champion. Garcia has the belt. Garcia has the power, the speed, the left hook, and the social media army. And Garcia has the narrative, the comeback, the redemption, the King Rye return. But Haney has something Garcia cannot buy or train into existence. He has the most legitimate claim to a world championship fight in boxing. He was cheated out of a clean victory. The commission said so. The courts have effectively said so. And every promoter, broadcaster, and sanctioning body in the sport knows it. The rematch is not a question of if,
It is a question of when. And based on what Haney said in this interview and what the paperwork trail of the last 2 years confirms, the version of Haney that walks into that fight will carry every single piece of this story with him from the first bell. Garcia lost a no-contest result, a year-long suspension, and over $1 million in fines and forfeitures. He rebuilt. He came back. He won the belt. And now the man he cheated is standing at the back of the line, holding the signed paperwork for the rematch, waiting for King Rye to look up from the live stream and answer for what happened in Brooklyn. The belt is the invitation. Haney's grievance is the RSVP. And when this fight finally happens, it will not just be the biggest fight in the Garcia-Haney story. It will be the most loaded rematch in boxing, since two fighters had this much real, documented financial and personal history to settle in a single night. If you want to know exactly how Haney has been preparing for this rematch and why Garcia's team is privately worried about the version of Haney that shows up, that breakdown is the next video. Watch it now. Drop a comment. Does Devin Haney have too much motivation going into this rematch for Garcia to handle? Or does King Rye's talent level make the backstory irrelevant the moment that bell rings?